Welcome back, everyone. Earlier in the show, we shared some reno reveals that improved upon a workable base. But what if your space needs an entire gut job? Not sure where to start? Well, designer Avissa Mojtahedi recently gutted her own condo and has all the tips and tricks that you need for your fixer-upper. Take a look at this.
I purchased this condo in 2006, and I just knew it needed a ton of work. Before the space was really dark, it was a bit moody, and I was really looking for a much more light and airy space. Initially, we had a large peninsula coming off of this wall here, and I've always dreamt of having a freestanding island. I rounded the edges of the island to make sure I did not lose my hips when I was walking around. What I've done is allowed for proper clearance so it doesn't feel too squished. Also, when you're mapping out your appliances, make sure you have enough clearance so you can actually open the doors. I've allowed for about 1.5 inches here. You need to be able to use your fridge. When you're picking out your faucet, definitely consider a touchless one. The scale of handles is also very important. I've opted for a larger handle here. You have a lot more grabbing surface, and it just makes it a lot easier to open the door. If you're gutting your condo, I would definitely invest in changing your floors. Whether it's a straight plank or a different color or a herringbone, it's really worth the investment. It just changes the whole look. Oftentimes with condos, we are limited with where our lighting fixtures can go because we have concrete ceilings and we can't add any additional light boxes. So what I've done here is my original outlet on the ceiling is actually in the center right here. What I've done is I've run a conduit to be centered over the island. Then I've extended another one all the way to the living room. Now I have 2 beautiful light fixtures where initially I would have just had one spot in the ceiling to cater to the whole space. Make sure you use the help of a proper electrician instead of trying to do it yourself. There's 2 bathrooms in my condo, and one was a full gut job and the other one was a more budget-friendly makeover. The tub remained the same, the wall tiles were kept as well. I've changed the vanity to something a bit more open concept, changed the floors, fresh new coat of paint. I've added a French sliding shower glass door. You can easily pull them open, turn on the faucet, and then it's actually accessible. You're not walking in, hitting the toilet to get into the shower. It just makes the space a lot more functional. The main bathroom really needed an overhaul. We had a massive corner tub, a shower that was actually quite too small for the space, and colors were just way dated. My goal for the bathroom was to make it a lot more open and airy, as well as properly styled and current. I really wanted to feel like you're not walking into a shower door or a wall, so we've tucked the door to the corner of the shower. The plumbing tower location is perfect here. The water actually splashes away from the glass, keeps it as tidy as possible, and splashes onto our tiled wall. If the plumbing tower or the plumbing were to be placed on the other wall, the glass would be sprayed all the time and quite the cleaning situation. Texture was really important when I was selecting my finishes, and we have a really cool groove tile running along this wall and into the shower, as well as this awesome tile, little hexagon backsplash for the vanity. Pro tip, use a small towel holder instead of a teepee holder. What does that do for you? You can have 2 rolls on one holder. It's tidy, it's clean, and it just makes your life a lot easier.
It's just revolutionary. The 2 toilet paper on the one little thing. It's so good. Avissa, great tips. And you've got even more for us right now. So I want to ask you this about starting from scratch. How do you know what colors to use in your space? Because, I mean, there's a world of them out there.
For sure. I always recommend starting with one piece, so either a piece of art or a rug.
Yeah.
For my space, I started with this vintage piece from my collection. It's neutral enough, but there's still some color, and it really helped to kickstart the color scheme.
Very nice.
It's also helpful to have a color theme as well, so I picked black and white throughout. So the doors are black, the handles are black, light fixtures, accessories, just to ground everything and just to have somewhat of a flow as well.
It's a beautiful flow, my gosh.
Thank you.
So let's talk a little bit about balancing all of the colors when you have an open concept space, because I think people really get tripped up on that.
For sure. So open concept can be a bit tricky. I like to start with one space that's a little bit more neutral, so tone on tone. with splashes of color, and then that way you can have fun and go a bit more wild with the adjacent space. My living room, I have a heavy gold frame on the wall. We have a smoky glass coffee table, some really fun accessories from CB2, color in our pillows, and but then we still have the black and white, so we go back to that kind of that grounding tone. Every space I like to have a splash of an unexpected color. So there's this random blue chair, may or may not go, it doesn't matter, but I love it, and it just kind of works, and it's that tone right there.
I think it's nice to have a little bit of a surprise so that everything is not completely expected room to room,
For sure.
right?
Yeah, something fun.
Something fun and whimsical. So speaking of surprise and whimsy, let's talk art. So
For
how
sure.
do you know what to pick when you're starting from a blank slate?
Art is so subjective. You can mix your frames, the colors, the scale of art. If you have a colorful print, add a black and white beside it. Like anything really goes.
Yeah.
In a more neutral space like my kitchen, I added these custom art panels. It's called Flip Wall. It's something I came up with during COVID. Basically, you can just mount them on the wall or just leave them on a shelf, and they come in this little tray segment piece as well for coffee tables. But just the classic black and white, so it's just kind of an interesting backdrop to more of a neutral tone.
Very cool. So during the pandemic, we were having cocktails at 11 a.m. and you were creating art pieces.
Right.
So Avissa was busy being productive. I made bread. Let's talk a little bit about the kitchen. It's all white. It does not look sterile at all. It looks warm and amazing. How do you make that happen when you're using all whites?
So there's a million whites, and that's probably a different segment to kind of talk about. I tried to bring in some warmth with the stone of the island and a backsplash. The warmth in the herringbone floor by Tierra Legno, as well as the warmth in the counter stools, that just kind of added that little pop. And then just like play with your accessories, some coral florals, and just anything to add a little bit of a punch of color.
And now we've got to talk about the gorgeous texture in the tiles in the bathroom. What did you add to the bathroom to make it that gorgeous spa?
So these bathrooms were super dated, and Sunny Lee Homes did a fantastic job with the reno. I had this tile in mind for about 10 years.
10 years!
Really wanted to add that texture and some warmth to the wall and some depth. And then the rest of the tile is just to have nice contrast, not to make it super busy, so I stuck to the hexagon shape.
Yeah.
The surprise element is the vanity. It's a nice soft wood tone.
This one. Yeah.
So add some gold wall sconces around mirror, and I think you're set.
Oh, well, you're definitely set. The place looks stunning. Avissa, thank you so much. And remember, at home, you can find more great design tips up on our website, cityline.tv.